Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be diving into something pretty cool, actually, in the world of Kubernetes management.
Yeah.
The launch of a brand new graphical user interface for Sveltos.
Mm.
We've gotten a whole bunch of different sources for this one. We've got blog posts, documentation, even a video demo.
Wow.
And it really does paint this picture of how Sveltos is trying to make managing clusters across different environments a whole lot smoother. So,
Sounds like a tough challenge.
oh yeah, it is.
Kubernetes can get pretty complex.
Exactly. So let's dig into this a bit.
Yeah.
Before we even get to the UI, what exactly is Sveltos tackling here? What problem are they trying to solve?
Okay, so picture this. You're juggling all these Kubernetes clusters, right? Some are in the cloud, some are on premises, and now you need to deploy like a monitoring tool or some add-on, and you need it across all of them.
Right.
Doing that manually, cluster by cluster, would be a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where Sveltos comes in. It basically runs in a central management cluster and makes sure everything stays consistent across your entire fleet.
So it's like an automation tool.
Exactly.
Okay, but couldn't you theoretically achieve the same thing with command line tools?
Yeah, you could.
So why even bother with the UI?
Well, the command line can be pretty intimidating, let's be honest.
For sure, especially if you're not super familiar with it.
Exactly, and that's what this new UI is all about. It's about making Sveltos accessible to more people.
I see. So it's like democratizing it in a way.
You got it.
Okay, cool.
I
So what were your first impressions of the UI?
gotta say, the video demo is slick.
Yeah.
Simone Morelato does a fantastic job walking you through it.
Yeah, he does.
That homepage really stood out to me. You get this clear overview of all your clusters right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I love the filtering options. You can filter by cluster namespace labels.
That's super useful.
Right. Especially if you're managing a ton of clusters.
Oh, absolutely. Without that, it'd be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. And when you click on a specific cluster,
Yeah.
you get this really detailed view. You see all the profiles applied to it. Any potential issues.
Interesting.
It's like you get an x-ray of each cluster's health.
Wow. Without having to dig through logs or anything like that.
Exactly. No complex commands needed.
That's awesome. And it sounds like they're going a step further than just, showing you the problems.
Right.
They've got this real-time problem detection built in.
Yeah.
With visuals and everything to help you troubleshoot.
It's all about making that complex information easy to understand and act on.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're instantly alerted to a problem and Sveltos even tells you how to fix it.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Could save a lot of time and headaches.
For sure. So we've got this visually appealing UI, easy to navigate, packed with features like filtering and problem detection. But is that all there is to it?
Oh, that's just the beginning. The UI is really just a window into some seriously powerful features under the hood.
Okay, so there's a lot more to unpack here.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface of what Sveltos can really do.
I'm intrigued. Let's dive deeper, shall we? Absolutely. You know those cluster profiles we were looking at in the UI demo?
Mm-hmm.
Those are like the core of how Sveltos makes sure things are consistent across all your clusters.
Oh, interesting.
They're really key to what makes Sveltos so powerful.
Okay, so I can see like a list of them in the UI.
Right.
But what are they exactly?
Think of them as like blueprints. You use them to define exactly what should be running on each cluster. Could be applications, add-ons, even specific configurations.
Okay.
And then Sveltos takes care of making sure that reality actually matches that blueprint.
I see. So if I wanted to deploy, say, a monitoring tool to all my production clusters, I'd create a cluster profile for that.
Exactly. You'd lay out what that monitoring tool is, any settings and which clusters it should go to, and Sveltos handles the rest.
So it just installs it and makes sure it's running right.
Yep, on every single cluster.
That's pretty cool. What happens if someone like manually makes a change to a cluster? Does Sveltos just ignore that?
Nope, not at all. Sveltos has this thing called configuration drift detection. It's constantly checking your clusters, comparing them to those cluster profiles we talked about.
So it's like always double checking.
Yeah, and if it finds any differences, it automatically fixes them.
Whoa, so it's like a self-healing system for my Kubernetes clusters.
That's a great way to put it. It's really important for keeping everything consistent and secure, especially as you start getting more and more clusters.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of security, I saw a lot of talk in these blog posts about Sveltos integrating with other tools.
Yeah.
Is that where security comes in?
It's definitely a big part of it. Sveltos is designed to work seamlessly with all the other tools in your Kubernetes world. including security tools. So, for example, it can hook up with external secret management systems,
Oh, wow.
which lets you store and manage sensitive info securely, like database passwords or API
So
keys.
it's not just deploying things, it's about deploying them safely.
Exactly. And because Sveltos has this bird's eye view of your whole Kubernetes setup,
Yeah.
it can help enforce those security policies across all your clusters, no matter where they're running.
That's pretty powerful. But wouldn't all this automation kind of take control away from developers and operators?
Right, like what if they need to make a manual change?
Exactly.
Sveltos isn't about taking away control. It's more about giving them the right tools for the job.
Okay.
And the UI is a perfect example. It lets developers and operators easily see what's going on in their clusters, check what's deployed, and even troubleshoot issues.
So it's more like empowering them with better visibility and control.
Precisely. It gives them the info and the tools they need to manage their clusters effectively without getting bogged down in all the complex Kubernetes stuff.
So we've talked a lot about what Sveltos can do, like under the hood, all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But this new UI, it really seems like a big step for them.
Mm.
Do you think this is going to like change how people actually use Sveltos?
I think it could be a real game changer.
Yeah.
Kubernetes has this reputation for being complicated,
Oh, for sure.
and command line interfaces, they're powerful and all,
Right.
but they can be a bit intimidating for some people. A good UI can make a world of difference when it comes to accessibility.
It's like the difference between using a map and like a GPS, right?
Exactly. You get that visual guidance.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to understand what's happening and how to actually manage those clusters.
For sure.
I think this UI is going to bring a whole new crowd to Sveltos.
Yeah, I think so too. And that could actually be really important for Kubernetes in general,
Mm.
right? I mean, if we want more people to use Kubernetes, we need tools that are easy to use and understand.
Absolutely. Kubernetes is becoming the standard for container orchestration,
Yeah.
but that complexity can be a barrier to entry for a lot of folks.
Right.
Tools like Sveltos with this new user-friendly UI, they can lower that barrier
Yeah.
and pave the way for more widespread adoption.
It's almost like Sveltos is trying to make Kubernetes management invisible.
Invisible?
In a good way. You just tell it what you want and it takes care of all the details.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's the ideal, right? Take away the complexity and let users focus on what they're actually trying to achieve.
Exactly, instead of getting lost in the technical weeds.
Right. And that seems to be the theme with Sveltos, like you said.
Yeah.
Automation consistency, simplicity.
It's like they're trying to take all the pain points of Kubernetes management and just make them disappear.
And they're doing a pretty darn good job of it.
Yeah.
Sveltos is a powerful platform for managing Kubernetes at scale, and this new UI just makes it that much better.
So as more and more organizations are adopting Kubernetes, do you think these kinds of intuitive tools like Sveltos are going to become like essential?
I think they'll be crucial. As the number of clusters keeps growing and deployments get more complex and spread out,
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty much impossible to manage everything manually.
Right.
So tools like Sveltos, they offer that automation consistency and visibility.
Yeah.
Those are going to be key for organizations to effectively manage and scale their Kubernetes deployments.
Well, that's it for our deep dive on Sveltos. We hope this has given you a better understanding of what it is, why everyone's so excited about this new UI, and why it matters in the bigger picture of Kubernetes adoption.
If you're interested in learning more, I definitely recommend checking out their website and their GitHub repository.
Yes, great resources there for sure. Until next time, happy cluster managing.